Yeah, well, I relate to that. Anybody else relate to like their feminine hijacking their best masculine plans? Right? Addiction in general is our feminine hijacking our masculine plans. Yeah, and whether it's porn or food or drugs or whatever it is, right? Addiction is the feminine. It's the feed me.
And I notice my reaction to that is my masculine's like, well, I'm going to clamp down and we're going to have this be perfect and absolute and that's not a helpful response.
Yeah. So we talked about this with, and I think the same thing applies. When the feminine actually has the capacity to co-opt what your consciousness wants for your life, which is health in this instance, right? And you get stressed or triggered in some way, the masculine will want freedom from the constraint of your stress. Does that make sense? This is kind of what we talked about with you. Like your wife gets mad and you get triggered and all of a sudden porn seems like a good idea. Okay? So your masculine, as we're talking about it, your masculine is recognizing the feminine, what's happening in your emotional body, i.e. the feminine, before the derailment, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a process. It doesn't just like, you don't just have a little trigger and then like stuff your face.
Right.
There's I'm feeling less than, or I'm feeling stressed, or there's some emotional trigger. Most masculine beings will plow right through that with no awareness. And then eventually the feminine, what happens to any woman who doesn't feel seen or loved or taken care of? Eventually she's gonna be like, she's gonna blow up the car, she's gonna go spend a bunch of money, she's gonna do something. The feminine, if ignored, will get violent and destructive. You following me so far? Yeah. And so what your masculine, the reason why what we did this morning is so crucial for masculine practice is that the awareness of your own body mind, your own feminine, from the part of you that's never changing, will know, oh, I'm triggered, I'm stressed. What do I do now to free myself? Because that's the masculine gift. Your masculine gift to your feminine is freedom from the emotion, freedom of your heart, your own heart. Does that make sense, you guys? You following me? Okay. So if you're aware enough to notice what's happening before you get derailed by your own feminine, then you can do something else. Like, what did you come up with? Like, you came up with a few things to do instead.
It was a physical and then, well, the first one was physical
Right.
and stillness.
Yeah.
But the one that really has been working for me is gifting freedom.
Yeah, gifting freedom. So let's say, so what's a what's a trigger that kind of ends in you breaking your diet?
Not enough sleep.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Not enough sleep. Okay, so you're exhausted, you get tired.
Yeah.
All right. So when you get tired, you start to think non-productive thoughts, probably.
Yeah.
Like most of us.
Yeah.
Okay. Anytime you're collapsing, the answer tends to be, in my opinion, it's kind of a catch-all. It's almost foolproof, not quite foolproof. It's almost the outside 90. But not, an outside 90 is not foolproof either, but this is pretty close to that. This will be the equivalent of your outside 90. Who can you love? Who can you love? Remember at the very beginning of the program, I said send 10 texts out to people telling them that you love them. That is my process for dealing with that moment, right? I love you, man, I love you, man, I love you, you're fucking doing great, I love you, right? And just me doing that takes 5 minutes, and it's the antidote to that moment.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, part of what I'm hearing is having your masculine lead from a place of attunement as opposed to overriding. Yes.
Perfect. Attunement and then action.
Right.
So freedom. So I'm collapsing. I can feel this is going to not end well for me because I'm tired and I'm grumpy, right? So who can I love? Who can I blast with love?
Yeah.
What's a loving act I can do? Who needs my love? Who needs my attention? Who needs, right, in that moment? Most of the time, exhaustion's an excuse for closure. And the antidote to closure is always blasting out love in some form or fashion. Now, how we do that's our individual art. How could you do that? Let's say it's next Thursday afternoon, you're tired, right? It's 4 o'clock,
Yeah.
it's been a long day, blah, blah, blah. Like all of a sudden, cheesecake sounded fucking great. Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How do you blast out love?
It could be a number of different ways. One of them would be sending the text idea.
Mm-hmm.
One of them would be like taking some time to consciously reconnect with the intention, the loving intention behind what I have on tap for that day anyway.
Mm-hmm.
One of them could be making some kind of art
Yeah.
for somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would suggest you make a list of 20 things that can be your go-to list when you need to blast out love as a strategy. Like I have women do this a lot when they're mad, they're not feeling loved by their husbands. What are 20 things? He's watching the TV. This is a perfect example. He's watching TV, I'm not feeling seen. What are 20 things you could do? I can take off my clothes and shake my ass at him. I can write a letter to my daughter when she's 10, for when she's 10. I can take a warm bath. I can call a friend and tell them how much I appreciate them. And she made a list, right? So I think it's important to have a strategy for dealing with closure, because our closure is what will always lead to these things, these kind of collapses of our own intention. Yeah, that makes sense to the rest of you guys? Like it's really a way for us to husband our own feminine. And to be when I say that, what I'm talking about is to have the depth of emotional awareness that you know your own body mind so fully that you can see this shit coming. And you can feel this shit coming. And your attunement to that does all kinds of things to your partner. Makes her trust you, makes her relax, makes her open. Right? Because she can feel that you're so attuned with yourself